The Amish people, a lifestyle rooted in simplicity, humility, and self-sufficiency. The Amish are a unique and fascinating group of people who have always captured the curiosity of many because of their unflinching adherence to a lifestyle that stresses simplicity, humility, and self-sufficiency. Originating from the Anabaptist movement in 16th century Europe, the Amish migrated to North America in the 18th century to escape religious persecution and to find a place where they could practice their faith freely. Today, the majority of Amish communities are found in the United States, particularly in states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, with smaller populations in Canada. Their way of life is deeply rooted in their religious beliefs, which emphasize separation from the modern world, a strong sense of community, and a commitment to living according to the teachings of the Bible. The Amish lifestyle is often characterized by their rejection of modern technology, their distinctive clothing, and their reliance on traditional farming and craftsmanship. Despite the difficulty of retaining their way of living in a rapidly modernized world, the Amish have been able to retain their tradition and values, making them a living example of a community that thrives on simplicity and self-reliance. Religious foundations of Amish beliefs and values. At the heart of the Amish way of living are their religious beliefs, shaping every aspect of their daily lives. The Amish are a Christian group that follows the teachings of the Bible, in particular, the New Testament, viewing this as a call to humility and separation from worldly influence with the aim of acquiring spiritual instead of materialistic wealth. At the heart of their belief are the terms Gelassenheit, a German word roughly translated into yielding or submission, representing ideals of humility, patience, and self-denial. This principle guides their relationships with one another and how they live life, challenging them to place community needs above individual desires. Adult baptism is also part of the Amish way, signifying a voluntary decision to embrace the faith and way of life. Such a choice is not an easy one, as it calls for people to forego many modern conveniences such as electricity, automobiles, and many more. The Amish believe that simple living in a more primitive way will free them from the distractions of the modern world and hold their attention squarely upon a relationship with God. To an Amish, faith is not just beliefs but a life, a way of living through every function of work, family life, and even interaction with the outside world. The Amish commitment to simplicity and rejection of modern technology. One of the most distinct features of the Amish lifestyle is their rejection of modern technology, regarded by them as a potential threat to their values and way of life. According to the Amish, technology leads to pride, individualism, and a weakening of community ties, all of which are contrary to their principles of humility and simplicity. This is why they first analyze every new invention or innovation to see whether it fits in with their values before deciding whether to adopt it. For instance, though most Amish communities do not utilize electricity from the public power grids, they use alternative sources of energy, like batteries or generators, for a specific purpose like running farm equipment or a business. Similarly, the Amish do not have cars and do not drive. They use horse-drawn buggies and think of it as their responsibility to keep away from the external world and live at a slower pace. This rejection of modern conveniences is, to outsiders, extreme, but for the Amish, it is a way to preserve their way of life and ensure that their focus remains on their faith, family, and community rather than on material possessions or technological advancements. The role of community in Amish life. The Amish way of life is really held at the heart of being part of a community, and such great feelings of belonging and mutual support obviously explain why they have survived centuries. Typically, an Amish community is small and close-knit, with members working to be helpful to each other in times of need and seeking aid in adversity. This sense of community is reflected in their barn raising practice, where the whole community comes together to build a barn for a family in need, often completing the structure in a single day. The Amish also place a high value on helping those within their community who are sick, elderly, or facing financial difficulties, ensuring that no one is left to struggle alone. This communal approach towards life is even reflected in the decision-making practices of the people, which largely revolves around achieving consensus and maintaining mutual respect for each other's opinion. A bishop and several ministers head up each Amish community, making decisions about their religious practices and guiding and governing the church members to comply with their respective religion. However, decisions on the really significant questions of life, such as adoption of a new technology or how to settle an internal conflict in the community, are often taken collectively in discussion and after consultation with all the members. This emphasis on community and collective decision-making helps to reinforce the Amish values of humility, cooperation, and mutual support. Amish family life and gender roles. Family is the foundation of the Amish society, and strong emphasis on family life is another key aspect of their lifestyle. An Amish family usually consists of many children, as more than 6 children from a couple are quite common in this society. Amish value the way their children grow up, following their religion and tradition. Children are taught from an early age to contribute to the family and community, whether by helping with household chores, working on the farm, or assisting with the family business. The education, too, of the Amish is significant in their lives. However, their education rarely surpasses 8th grade because beyond that age group, further studies might take away their children to worldly attractions that could influence their faith and turn them away from their community's responsibilities. Amish families have gender roles that are clearly defined. Men are typically the ones providing for the family through farming or other forms of manual labor, while women take care of the household and raise the children. However, the role of men and women within the family and community is just as important to each other, and their work is valued equally. Though a clearly defined line of division, an Amish family is well defined by teamwork and mutual respect from the husbands to their wives and vice versa. The latter help in rearing their children as well as run their houses within the light of their beliefs. The Amish method on working and being self-sufficient. The Amish are generally identified with high commitment to hard work and their own self-reliance, which lies at the very core of the Amish's way of living. Most Amish families depend on farming as the largest source of their income. They take a lot of pride in being able to produce their own food and not have to depend on outside sources for sustenance. It is also during this period that many Amish families continue other work outside of farming, such as woodworking, quilting, or small business owners to augment their earnings. The Amish value hard work and craftsmanship highly. They produce high-quality goods that are often in great demand among outsiders. A sort of self-sufficiency in many aspects of life beyond their work is another aspect of the Amish culture. For example, they like to take care of their own health and education. For instance, the Amish frequently use herbal remedies and folk healing instead of modern medicine, and they usually school their children in one-room schoolhouses operated by members of their community. This self-sufficiency not only keeps the Amish independent, but also enforces their values of simplicity, humility, and community. The challenges of maintaining an Amish lifestyle in the modern world. While the Amish have been able to maintain their lifestyle for thousands of years, they are confronted with many issues in keeping up with their culture and beliefs in a modernizing world. One of the significant challenges for many Amish communities is coping with the impact of changing economic conditions, brought on by land appreciation and decreasing small-scale farms to the extent that many can no longer afford agriculture as the base of their source of living. Many Amish communities have been pushed to look for alternative means of survival, some by establishing very small businesses, while others by offering their services to industries such as construction and manufacturing. Modernity is another obstacle that seems uncontrollable, as many aspects of a modern society depend on it in order to develop and survive. While the Amish have strict rules about the use of technology, some communities have had to make compromises in order to remain economically viable, such as by using cell phones or computers for business purposes. Moreover, the Amish face the challenge of maintaining their cultural identity in a world that often views their way of life as outdated or impractical. Despite these challenges, the Amish remain committed to their values and traditions, and they continue to find ways to adapt while staying true to their faith and way of life. The Amish and their relationship with the outside world. The Amish are perceived by many as isolationists from the outside world. However, this is a misleading view because in reality, they have a complicated relationship with outsiders, or what they refer to as English. On the one hand, the Amish do strive for separation from the modern world. On the other hand, the Amish have come to recognize the importance of interacting with the outside world so that they could meet their economic and practical needs. For instance, most Amish businesses depend on non-Amish customers, while the Amish themselves buy their goods and services from non-Amish vendors. Moreover, Amish people are known for being hospitable. They are even willing to open up their life to curious outsiders, either by inviting them into their communities or by participating in cultural exchange programs. On the other hand, the Amish are very sensitive to external influence on their society, and there are rigid restrictions on when and how they are allowed to associate with the outside world. They usually tend to avoid participating in politics or other secular involvements, and they are extremely cautious about what kind of media they are exposed to and how much modern entertainment they are allowed to indulge in. This balance, delicate as it is between separation and interaction, permits the Amish to uphold the rigors of their traditional culture while meeting their practical needs. The future of the Amish community. The world continues to change, and the Amish face the ongoing challenge of preserving their way of life while adapting to new realities. Despite such adversities, the Amish people have been resilient and adaptable, and their community's population has been growing in the last few years. Apart from high birth rates, this happens due to the community's ability to survive by passing on the practices and values down to the next generation. While some Amish youth decide to leave the community during their Rumspringa, that period of exploration that comes within late adolescence, most ultimately decide to remain within the faith and lifestyle of the Amish. This would point to an attraction to the lifestyle still being very strong for many, even in the face of the temptations and challenges of the modern world. The challenges they face in the future will undoubtedly be new, but the simplicity, humility, and self-sufficiency of life that many associate with Amish religion will probably remain in the mainstream for many generations to come.